Hello chess enthusiasts, my name is Micha and welcome to my chessrealm YouTube channel, and we are still at the Margaryan Memorial tournament taking place in Armenia. We are in the fourth round. Again, I found another very interesting game between Artur Davtyan and Hovik Hayrapetyan. Let's see what happened. Artur Davtyan had white pieces and he started with d4, d5, c4, e6, knight to c3, knight to f6, and we have queen's gambit decline. White continues with knight to f3 and now c6, transposing into a semi-Slav defense characterized by this distinctive pawn structure. So now white plays bishop to g5, pinning this knight on c6. Black plays knight from b goes to d7, reinforcing, and now white plays e3, bishop to e7, bishop to d3. So far so good, more or less everything according to the theory, and now black has decided to castle king side and white also, and now black plays h6, attacking bishop on g5, forcing white to decide what to do with bishop. So bishop goes back to h4, and now this light square bishop doesn't have any bright future here on this diagonal, so b6 was played, preparing to fianchetto his light square bishop, later maybe with c5. That is the general plan. So first white plays queen to e2, connecting both rooks, and now of course bishop goes to b7. Maybe white could play rook to c1 and then rook to d1, putting them on the central lines, but white has decided to play rook from a goes to d1, of course x-raying black queen. And now black captures pawn on c4. Bishop of course recaptures, and black plays b5, attacking this bishop on c4. You might think that white could try with bishop somehow to c2, later with queen to d3 with mating threats. Well, this h7 square is very much protected, so this probably wouldn't go through. So white plays bishop to d3. And now black pushes b pawn further. b4 was played, attacking knight on c3. Or white could try to trade some pieces, maybe after knight to e4, after knight captures, bishop captures, queen captures, and bishop captures on e4, attacking this pawn on c6. That would be valid if rook, of course, would be to c1, but this is not the case in this game. So white plays knight goes back to d1, and now black plays rook goes to c8, preparing this c5 pawn push. So white first play h3. Now this is either a waiting move, or maybe white is just creating an escape square for his bishop in order not to get taken by this knight. And of course now c5 was followed. Now let's take a look at this position. It's more complicated as it may seem, because let's see, if white captures on c5, then knight captures, putting some pressure here on this white's light square bishop. Of course bishop cannot go to c2 because black simply plays bishop to a6 and skewering this queen, and then exchange is gone. And maybe after bishop to b5, attacking the queen, well, queen simply goes to a5, and then a2 pawn is in danger. So here black already has initiative, but you might wonder, hey, what about if bishop goes to h7? It's check and discover attack on the queen. Well, let's see. In this case, knight would probably capture on h7, and after rook captures on d8, then bishop recaptures. But black is still threatening with this bishop to a6, skewering queen, gaining the exchange, so additional material. Well, white in this position couldn't have simply play queen to e2, because then bishop captures on f3 after pawn captures, and there goes another bishop. And here, of course, black is clearly better. So here white would have to play a bishop to d8 immediately, then rook from f goes to d8, again threatening this unpleasant bishop to a6. I don't know, maybe after rook to d1, well, then we have again bishop to a6. Now, if king goes to e1, then knight to d3, and this is a very strong outpost. If, however, queen goes to c2, then bishop to d3, again skewering this queen. After queen goes to d2, then bishop captures knight. And here in this position, white would have no other option but to return the queen. So after queen captures the rook, rook recaptures, rook captures, check. The only possibility is now knight to f8. Let's see, both sides has a same number of pawns. Black has two pieces for rook. Still, rook is very active, so computer says it's equal here. This is only one of the variations, but you can see how complicated this position is. Okay, so let's go back to our game. In the game, white doesn't capture on c5. Bishop to b5 was played. And now black intends to use both of his knights, so he doesn't want to give them away. g5 was played, attacking the bishop. Bishop goes back to g3. And here black had a very nice move at his disposal. Black could have tried with a6, attacking the bishop. Well, bishop of course can capture. After bishop recaptures, queen recaptures, white is a pawn up still. Black then plays c4. Pawn is protected by the rook, so this is a very unpleasant. If white plays b3, then we have c3, further pushing the pawn, so maybe after releasing the pressure with rook to c1, then maybe black could try probably queen to b6, trying to exchange queens. White can remove, but even if white captures queen, knight recaptures. Rook to a8 is a very serious threat, and these two pawns are very far away, so very interesting continuation actually, but black doesn't go for it. In the game, black plays queen to b6, attacking this bishop on b5, who is protected, but if black captures this knight, then white can only recapture with g-pawn, therefore gaining double pawns along the f-file, because like I said, queen has to protect this bishop on b5. So white plays knight from b goes to d2, further protecting this knight on f3, and black plays rook from f goes to d8. Now white wants to play a knight to c4, attacking the queen, but then this bishop is not protected, so bishop goes back to d3, and now c-pawn captures on d4, but before recapturing, white plays knight to c4, attacking the queen. Well, black has to be careful. If queen goes, for example, queen actually doesn't have many available squares. If queen goes to a6, then we have knight to d6 discover attack, and this knight is protected. After maybe queen to b6, knight captures bishop, queen recaptures, and bishop to a6, and there goes our exchange. So in the game, black plays queen to c5, and now white recaptures pawn on d4, queen is again under attack, queen goes to d5, and now knight to e3, again attacking the queen. Still, maybe the best option would be simply to remove to c6. Let's see if queen goes to c6, then yeah, white cannot simply attack the queen, because here black can recapture, but moreover, black threatens with queen to g2 checkmate. Of course, g2 square is protected so far, but this is another asset for black, keeping as much threat as possible. In the game, however, black plays queen to a5, targeting this defenseless pawn on a2, but white doesn't mind. Knight to e5 was played anyway. Now let's see. F-pawn is free, so f4 is a serious threat. You might think that black can maybe try to grab this pawn. Well, in this case, rook goes to a1, and queen can only go to b3, but then bishop to c4, queen is trapped. Black would have to sacrifice his exchange, and here white is clearly better. But let's see if black makes a random move in this position, let's say a6, then we have a4, trying to open this file again. Black would have to be very careful. Another random move, let's say queen to b6, then f-pawn captures, h-pawn recaptures, and knight to f7. It's a very unpleasant move, because if king captures, it's queen to h5 check. This knight is pinned, so cannot capture. After maybe, I don't know, if king to f8, then queen to h8 is deadly. If king goes to g8, then queen to g5 check. After maybe king to f7, again bishop to g6 check. King goes to f8, then bishop to h7, threatening with mate here on g8. Bishop to d6, creating some space, doesn't help. Then we have queen to g8 check, king to e7, queen to g7, king to e8, and bishop to g6 checkmate. Of course, there were some random moves here in between, but still. So in the game, black had decided to keep as much as pieces in order to protect his king, so knight goes to f8. And now, of course, white plays f4, trying to open this file. Black plays rook captures on d4. And now, of course, f-pawn captures on g5, h-pawn recaptures, and now knight from the third rank goes to g4. This knight on f6 is a double attack. You might think that black can reinforce it with knight to h7, well, not exactly. Bishop can recapture this at any moment. So black plays knight captures on g4, and now knight recaptures, threatening with here knight to h6. Well, let's see again if black makes a random move. Knight to h6 check, king to g7, and then rook to f7 check. Well, if king goes to h8, then we have bishop to e5. Black here could only recapture bishop, but anyway the end is near. If however king captures the knight, then we have queen to e6 check. King can only go to h5, but then we have rook to h7 check. Knight can only recapture rook, but then queen to g6 checkmate. So in the game, black has decided to sacrifice the exchange. Rook captures on g4, removing this unpleasant knight, and now of course queen recaptures. Now white is exchange up, black has additional pawn, so let's see what happened in the continuation. f5 was playing attacking the queen. Now there's no point in trying to somehow attack the king because it's very well protected actually, and also black threatens here with capturing this pawn on a2. So first white plays queen to e2, threatening with capturing this pawn on f5. Of course, if black recaptures, then there goes our bishop. So black plays bishop to f6. And now, of course, maybe white was afraid of this bishop to d4 with a check. So first white plays king to h1. And here black is still exchanged down, but the game is not won for white. Maybe black could try with queen to a2 and later grabbing this pawn on b2. But black also sees that this pawn on e6 is attacked by the queen, defended only by knight, and then we have check. So maybe black wants to use his knight. So first king to g7 was played. And now white continues with the bishop to d6, trying to remove this defender of the pawn on e6. And maybe black would try with queen to b6, first of all attacking bishop and implicitly defending this pawn. Still black sees the things otherwise. Bishop to d5 was played, this pawn is protected, and also targeting this pawn on a2, and also pawn on b2 is also under attack. So here white decides to trade some material. Rook to c1 was played, and black agrees, so rook captures on c1, and rook recaptures. Now maybe black here should probably try with queen to d8, somehow solidify his position, also attacking this bishop on e6. That would be a totally good plan. However, in this position, black makes a fatal blunder. Knight to g6 was played. You can see king is alone on the 7th rank. And of course, white doesn't have a hard job to finish the black king, so rook goes to c7 check. Now let's see. King cannot go to f8 because it's protected by the bishop. If king goes to h8, then queen to h5 check. After king to g8, queen to h7 checkmate. If however king goes to g8, again queen to h5, trying to deliver mate here. Knight to f8 doesn't help, then we have queen to f7 check. After king to h8, queen to f8 checkmate. If black defends the check with knight, for example, of course bishop can't capture because then black captures rook, so rook captures on e7, bishop recaptures, and bishop recaptures. White is bishop up. Of course black has additional pawn, but in this position black is lost. In the game, black has decided to lose as soon as possible, so king to h6 was played, and now we have mate in 2. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to find it. White played queen to h5 check. Now king can only capture queen, but then rook goes to h7, it's checkmate. And realizing this, in this position, Hovik Hayrapetyan resigned the game. So I hope you like this game, I hope you have learned something from it. If you have any questions, my email is below in the description. Of course, I invite you to visit my Instagram page. That's it for now, and see you soon.